जो भी एक specific field के there are the foundational principles of it, right? You just take a
Mm-hmm.
very good grasp at those things and see every problem in that field from that lens. Then you'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to understand कि इसका like बना कैसे है, ये दिक्कत कैसे बनी है.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can just find unique creative ways merging in your experience, like अपना experience
Mm-hmm.
merge कर रहे हो first foundational principles के साथ,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
coming up with very unique ideas, out of the box ideas. I think that is also fun. Can you also talk about the current company which you're running, because it's kind of related to that dream only, right? So how did you came up with this idea? Motivation कैसी थी आपकी? क्या challenges ले when you were starting out? How was society feeling? How did you approached the, let's say, feelings of negativity, if any? So like, how was that entire experience for you? Can you like share it with us?
Okay, so the experiences that I had, right, being a
हाँ जी.
school teacher, being into outscale, so I could see, maybe a gap that I felt is there between, the way the corporates go ahead and, train. They have these like project-based learning, a lot of things, right? But
Yep.
on the other hand, the majorly our education system is stuck on rote learning. NEP is coming in anyway, but let's see what happens again. So that led me to think, like if I could create a place wherein I can
हाँ जी.
take the subjects,
हम्म.
the rote learning one, maybe
हम्म.
convert it in a convert it and teach it in a way that
हम्म.
you go ahead and you have to think. First thing, second thing, you have to think across different subjects. For example, like science and social science, mathematics, and we view them as boxes, different boxes.
हम्म.
So these all are connected. So you just have different books. You think this is different, no, but they are all connected somewhere, right? So that
हम्म.
connections, if you
हम्म.
invoke, so eventually what you learn is that like that inculcates a deep thinking. So
हम्म.
every idea. So I was reading some book. He said ki there are two ways to go ahead. There is synthetic thinking, creative thinking. Synthetic is when you take two ideas and um, you combine them and you
हम्म.
get a new one,
हाँ
right?
जी. हम्म.
And creative, he said, comes from some higher realm, right?
हम्म.
Subconscious mind,
हाँ.
like ether. It comes from ether and you just get the inspiration.
हम्म.
So I think a bit different here. Think and grow rich है वैसे
हम्म.
book का नाम
हाँ
अगर
जी. हाँ जी.
याद आ गया.
हम्म.
I go a bit different here. I say, again, creative thinking is like you take 5, 10 synthetic thinking, combine it, you get something new that
Yeah.
even you can't tell कि ये आई कहाँ से, right? At
हम्म.
some point,
हम्म.
because it is such a mixture of a lot of things.
हम्म.
Now, when you go ahead with that, so yeah. So
हम्म.
that is where I am wanting to go. Ki I may be able to mentor students
हम्म.
to be able to think in those terms. Ki how different subjects that they are already studying can go across all the buckets, and going ahead can maybe apply it to their lives in some way or other. So that is something I'm
हम्म.
working
हम्म.
with the learning recipe, right? I'll
हम्म.
always learn to think. So
हम्म.
therein I am also trying to teach them ki how
हम्म.
they can maybe learn things themselves,
हम्म.
right? And
हम्म.
maybe how they can inculcate uh, or maybe think. So
हम्म. हम्म.
if you would like, can we go ahead and maybe explore how can we think, right? Just
Yeah, yeah,
interesting
definitely.
question.
हाँ जी. हाँ जी. हाँ जी. Definitely. I think
Yeah.
thinking, like, it's very interesting how to think. Like, I think Shwetab also talks about it, a content creator that I think you also admire. I also admire him a lot. कि अगर इंसान को सोचना सिखा दो ना, उसकी आधे से ज़्यादा लाइफ सॉर्टेड हो जाएगी
Sorted हो जाती
यूजुअली.
है.
क्योंकि हाँ, हमें एक आदत है इंडियंस को, हम ना भेड़ चाल में मतलब हम फॉलो करना चाहते हैं ज़िंदगी भर, राइट, किसी और को. आई थिंक क्योंकि हमारे अंदर वो सेल्फ इस्टीम नहीं बिल्ड की जाती एक लेवल पे कि हम कॉन्फिडेंट हो पाए अपने स्किल के साथ, राइट. एंड आपने देखा होगा कि अगर लेट्स से कोई like कोई creative thinking कर रहा है out of the box, let's say, like for me it was personally speaking, let's say when I was learning music, तो सारे टीचर्स एक पूरा कलेक्टिव एफर्ट है, जंग है भाई आपके अगेंस्ट कि तू ना कर भाई, तू अलग ना जा तू कुछ डिफरेंट ना कर, राइट. एक जंग होती है लिटरली, राइट, कि देखो घर पे डंडे पड़ रहे हैं, घर पे गालियां चपले पड़ रही हैं कि भाई तू क्या कर रहा है, राइट? टीचर्स बोल रहे हैं, आसपास वाले को मतलब जो भी है वो झुंड है चूतियों सा क्लासमेट्स का, वो चिढ़ रहा है कि भाई हमसे अलग हो रहा है, राइट? क्योंकि उनकी अपनी इनसिक्योरिटीज फट रही हैं, उनकी जिंदगी में सिर्फ काम, लाइक फ्रॉम माय कॉन्टेक्स्ट स्पेसिफिकली स्पीकिंग, या दो चीजें चलती थी, इधर लड़कियां थोड़ी मतलब लौंडियाबाजी कर ली, या एक छोटा सा ग्रुप है हमारा, किसकी कितनी बैक है, कौन कितने नशे दब के मार रहा है। मैंने ये सोचता था कि 9th-10th में ना हमें ऐसे कहानियां देते थे स्कूल्स में, मैंने ये किया बाबा, मैं यहाँ डाउन हो गया, ये ड्रग की मतलब ये पी, मैंने इतनी पी ली। मैं ये सोचता था बेटी जो 9वीं 10वीं कक्षा में तेरे को क्या गम है भाई जिंदगी का, ना तू टैक्स भर रहा है, ना तू कमा रहा है, ना कुछ और कर रहा है, राइट? सो coming from a point of thinking, creative thinking is something I think which is very hard to develop in the first place, and that comes like I think when you just start taking up some creative endeavors in life, right? अब let's say music का example लेते हुए, personally speaking, that once you start learning how these songs are made, right? जब आप empathetically put करते हैं creator के shoes में, you start understanding कि वो भी steal कर रहे हैं ideas इधर उधर से, they are just kind of synergizing, जो आपने बोला है, different perspectives लेके, and they're just synergizing that, और चूतिया बना रहे हैं भाई हम बड़े creative हैं, and वो अपनी जो insecurity, inherent insecurity ना कि किसी ने validate नहीं किया था, वो ऐसे project करे, हम तो 30 मार खाने, हम बड़े creative हैं. I think you find this among with many actors, growing models, growing musicians, उस सेंस के लोग, राइट, जो ग्रो कर रहे हैं अभी लाइक 0 to 1 वाले स्टेज पे. सो ये इनसिक्योरिटीज इनके साथ लर्ज भी करती है, राइट? अब जस्ट टू टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ आई थिंक देयर वाज दिस आर्टिस्ट मेगाडेथिक, देयर इज अ बैंड, राइट? So he started basically by being kicked out of Metallica, and for his whole life 20 working years he was insecure कि Metallica उनसे ऊपर जा रहा है, चाहे मेगाडेथ अपने में बहुत बड़ा बैंड था, राइट? So ये बड़ा prominent होता है among artists roughly speaking. So you rightly pointed it out. I think creative thinking is nothing but stealing from top artists and combining them in such a way कि वो एकदम मतलब ऐसा हो जाए, छुप जाए, राइट? पता ही ना कर पाए कोई कि भाई मतलब अपने आइडियाज मस्त चुराए इधर उधर से. I think that is the root of creative thinking. I think there are other types of thinking as well, जब आपको बॉक्स की तरह सोचना is mandatory, but I personally don't find much use of it, roughly speaking. कि बॉक्स की तरह सोच के you don't get to explore many avenues, right? You become a boring person as well in conversations and all.
उसका भी एक टाइम पे काइंड ऑफ कहीं ना कहीं यूज था, लाइक व्हेन इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन वाज देयर, राइट? पीपल वर नीडेड टू गो अहेड एंड डू really boring jobs, right? So going ahead, like putting say cap on a toothpaste ka wo, right? Tube. So that was a boring job, right? So that is why if you look at schools nowadays, right, like bahut saalon se, so they are kind of similar to that, right? On the bells you have food, in the factory on the bells you have food, you have a time to leave, everyone is in unison, uniform, right? That is why in one way it is taking out individuality a lot of the times कि boys के सबके hair same ऐसे ही रहेंगे, right? So that is one thing that I feel कि वो चीज going ahead should kind of change, right? कि हाँ होना चाहिए, it should be more creative, but ठीक है. So again quotes, just remembered someone said कि if you hate the system, reach to the top, like follow it, reach to the top and change it, right? So that is the only way. If you go on cribbing, you can't do anything. So just take action, do something that you can, right? So maybe little by little things change.
I think एक ये चीज भी आती है, just to expand more on the topic of thinking. आजकल बड़ा famous है startup world में first principles thinking. Elon Musk also I think kind of famously said it कि जो भी एक specific field के there are the foundational principles of it, right? You just take a very good grasp at those things and see every problem in that field from that lens. Then you'll be able to understand कि इसका like बना कैसे है, ये दिक्कत कैसे बनी है, and maybe you can just find unique creative ways merging in your experience, like अपना experience merge कर रहे हो first foundational principles के साथ, and then coming up with very unique ideas, out of the box ideas. I think that is also one other way I look at thinking per se.